to make my life worth living. That's why I thank God every day for those kisses she's giving. I wanna thank her every night for the arms that are holding me tight. I wanna thank her every day for those smiles coming my way. Yeah.
I don't believe man should be living in a box. When man first built the house, it was round. Somehow, somewhere along the line, they took us out of a round house and they put us, I and I, in a square box. They put us in a square box, and then when we die, they bury us in a box. And when you live in a round house, there are no limits. Everything is infinity. Everything is smooth, flowing. When you live in a square house, you're always walking into barriers, there's limits to squares. So, and plus round is a meditation to build in a round house. Everything flows smooth. The moon is round, the earth is round, the sun is round. The wind, when it blows, it doesn't blow in squares, it blows round. When a wave breaks, it rolls round. All of nature is round. Man, big square. So, I believe we have to go back to a round house and get away from the box. I mean, they even took the fire ring and made a fire box out of it out on the beach. Page 11, taken from the Tao Te Ching Lao Tzu. It say, 30 spokes share the wheels of a hub. It is the center hole that makes it useful. Shape clay into a vessel. It is the space within that makes it useful. Cut doors and windows for a room, and it is the holes which make it useful. Therefore, profit comes from what is there. Usefulness from what is not there. Nice. And the book is filled with a lot of wisdom. Walden is a very crucial subject in I Man's life because when I come to this cabin and build, Walden was with me all the way because he was really the first person I contacted through a book. I never read a book in my life, really. And my ex-wife told me one day to pick him up and read him story, and when I did, I was amazed of how strong of a man he was and how positive. And he said it and did it. So when I come to the cabin here, I knew that this is nothing new. So it's been done before. So that's why I knew I can do it. Yeah. And it was nice rediscovering a chapter in the story and reliving a story that was so dear to I. And listening to the wind and taking all the furniture out of the house and cleaning it spotless and seeing the furniture out on the front porch and looking into the house and seeing the floor shine and glitter. And coming into the house and burning sage and filling the air with beautiful aroma and smelling, and then stepping in barefoot and sitting on the floor and knowing that it was all done from love and from pure Jah creation. And it's such a nice feeling to know it's pure, it's simple. I began by cleaning the land, moving boulders. was pushing him out of the way. And the only boulder I couldn't move was the one that this sits on. And I decided that that's where my fireplace would go, and I built it. After the fireplace was finished, I built the house all around it. I have a picture of that fireplace standing here with nothing else around it. It's a nice picture. Looked like a robot. Hey, my plumb bob. One of my ancient plumb bobs.
When you used to build this?
I must have used it to set the pole when I wanted to know exactly where the footing had to be. I built this to plumb down. Then I started to dig. You know, in nature, they call it the whales have a symbiotic. They call it symbiotism. Well, there's a lot of symbiotism in nature. The whales have a little parasite that attached to their skin. Symbiotically, they work hand in hand. So when I climbed into the tree, I said, if I do not vibe on a symbiotic level with this tree, it's not going to last. And I realized that if I'm going to be a symbiotic, we have to give each other and care for one another. And if I drive a nail into its skin, I'm not really giving it much consideration. Not at all. So there is no nails in the tree. And I built it on, I rested on it. It's like I went to sleep in the tree. I just let the board sleep on the limbs. Gently. Where ropes hang, I put rubber, tires, old tires, so that the rope won't cut into the tree. The tree happy, doesn't even know I'm in, because I transferred the load everywhere so that every limb does a little rather than one limb do a lot. Crucial. There was a construction job in El Cajon. They were building a condominium project. Mm-hmm. And they had a pile. It was so big. And the guy says, come back in 2 days and you can have all of it. I took every bit, all the little pieces, and I framed this thing up with pieces, basically. The posts are made from 4x4s, short ones, strapped side by side with longer 2x4s. And I just kept building up and nailing it. Taking the nails out of the wood, bending them out, and straightening them out, and reusing the nails too. Totally recycled. And it's a free house. I spent a total sum of $65 on this whole entire house. Only because I bought a sink, I bought some tiles, and I bought a clay fireplace in TJ, or in Tecate. So it's a totally recycled house. And the house it moves. It bends. Because the posts are made from pieces, everything moves like a ship out in sea when the wind blows. That's why it all squeaks the whole house squeaks when the wind blows. I had a generator and I turned it on. And every time I turned it on, the noise was so loud I couldn't handle it, so I just got rid of it. I cut one window with it, and I couldn't handle the noise. So I put it away. So the house is totally handmade, except for a one window. The cabin, all handmade, totally. I cut a 4x8 beam, 14 feet long, down the length, by hand, 2.5 hours.
Handsaw?
With a handsaw. Yeah. And you think you're a carpenter until you build something by hand, and then you realize you were never a carpenter. Tarzan the Ape Man. As far as I'm concerned, it made all the sense in the world. live like an ape. Seems to me like the only natural way to be. So it was my favorite program, and when he lived in a tree, I loved it. And I knew one day that I would live in a tree. But I didn't know when, and that was cool. I have to say that I met a very beautiful young lady one day, and as she was sitting under this tree, she said to I, Joseph, why don't I build a house in this tree? And that was when I did it. I climbed next day and started putting it in. And I did not stop until it was finished. So, with the tree house finished, I was able to free up from Babylon, have a little income, take care of a little few needs, not have to run like a crazy chicken without a head anymore, and stay here and work and be free and be able to create the works that I needed to do. And that was to work on another project. Why? I don't know. I guess because I had nothing else to do, and I enjoyed doing it so much that I started to build another project called Pagoda.
When I woke up this morning, sun was shining, but the smog was in control. When I woke up this morning, was the kind of morning where you think you've lost your soul. When I woke up this morning, I could hear the voices of my children having fun. When I woke up this morning, I contemplated what would come. Meanwhile in the capital, grown-up men.
So there I was, a youth growing up in Brooklyn, in an Italian neighborhood, and school wasn't for me, so I left Brooklyn. But before I did, I learned how to use my hands working construction. And from there I went to Vietnam. From Vietnam to California, to going into business, construction business, and to excelling to the maximum. California was growing, realty was booming, and I was booming with it. So I owned a house here and there in La Jolla and Rancho Santa Fe and Lake Hodges, and lots of money, but very empty inside. And that's when I decided to just do it another way, just live in nature. The deck came from, they ripped down an old building in La Jolla, and all the floor joists the guys gave me. And the sheeting for the deck came from Belmont Park fence boards. And the balance came from Alpine lumber, a whole load of rotten lumber that they would throw away and bought for $80 delivered. I feel like a monkey. And because it's a giant playground, it's a monkey bars, giant. And every day I was in tip-top physical condition because I climbed it with my arms up a rope every day. And I worked on high levels and dangling. And you got to really be in good physical and mental condition to hang on these heights like you do. And I find the children find the house like I find the house, like a monkey bars. Running around and climbing the stairs and going up the sides and down the ropes. And so the children love it here because they're open and free. The house, their home is like a playground. In Babylon, their playground is defined. In Rastafari, their playground is everywhere they go. And with just the bamboo in the water, I love to share my gates with the people. And I love even more when the people leave and it's like they never were here. They leave it cleaner than they find it. It make I proud, feel good.